Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talented 909, or welcome back if you're a lovely viewer. As you can see, Mick Fleetwood over there, he seems a little bit excited today. And Christine McVie, second album as an official member, pretty excited too.
hmm
Well, being the second album as an official member, pretty happy. As Bob Welch. Today, I'm very surprised we're doing the video now because we had like over 2 months of between Killing House and future games, and we had like it's like a few days between this video and the previous video, which I thought was
Yeah,
pretty cool. So yeah, with this series, very pretty inconsistent, but
I'm gonna have a lot more time for videos now that December's over because the Christmas season was busy for my work.
I bet. Yeah.
yeah. No, I'm not blaming any of you guys for the reason why it took so long for Killing House and future games. It happens, you
It
know.
also had something to do with that. Those albums are not well. Future Games is good, but Kiln House not the best. I wasn't really in any hurry to get to that one.
Yeah. But well, first off, we're gonna get our history lesson with Christian McVie. Christian McVie. Let's hear the history lesson.
Thank you. I was there, by the way, so of course I would know. Um, Honestly, there really wasn't a whole lot in between future games and this album. It's the second album with this lineup with Danny, Bob, Christine, John, and Mick. Kind of just continuing where they left off. I will say though, this was kind of where there was a little bit of tension between Bob and Danny because they were they were kind of fighting who was going to be the leader of the band because Danny was like, I've been here longer, so I should be the one in charge. But Bob really wanted to get his songs more out there, so there was a little bit of tension in there. But for now, they were able to get through this one. Um, and this was also where Danny was starting to drift a little bit from the band. It goes without saying this is his final album with Fleetwood Mac before he would leave. I'll go more in depth why probably when we get to Penguin. So I'll probably explain why he left specifically. But regardless, so this album came out, and at the time it actually did pretty a little bit better than Future Games. It got to number 70 in the US. Didn't chart in the UK. Um, but another thing about this album is that it took a while. It wasn't until the late 80s, like 88, I believe, where this album actually was able to get certified platinum. So I guess you can say of the Bob Welch era, this is probably the best selling album. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much all the history surrounding it. Um, Kind of give my brief thoughts on the album before it. Before we actually did the series, this was like for the long time my earliest Fleetwood Mac album. I've had this for 1 or 2 years now, and I enjoyed it when I first heard it, over, but I never went back to it. But then we get back to this series. That's kind of is like a good opportunity to kind of re-listen to this album again and kind of see what I probably missed on the first listen. So we'll see how my opinion has changed since then.
Yeah, this is a album. I remember listening to this album for the first time when going through the discography, and I thought it was good. I thought it was pretty good. I didn't think it was as nearly as good as the one that came before it, or even the one that came before. Well, even then, Play On, I thought it was a step down from those two albums. But after giving it another listen, this album has grown on me tremendously. It still isn't as quite on par with those two albums I just mentioned, but this album is really good in its own way. But yeah. Anything you would like to add, Scott, before we start reviewing the album?
I like most of the songs on this album. There's a few that I'm like, okay, but for the most part, this is a step in the right direction for Fleetwood Mac, and I'm generally happy with the album here.
Yeah. Well, for me, I love most of this album. I mean, I will say there is a certain member that is starting to drag the band just a tiny bit, but yeah, I have a couple of problems with this album, but some of the problems are greater than others. But yeah, first track on the album though is "Child of Mine."
Do 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 do. Oh wait, never mind. That's a different song.
Oh, but yeah, I'll start this one. So again, starting off right off the bat with one of Danny's songs, and I'll be upfront. This was probably my favorite of Danny's contributions. We kind of talked about it in the last episode, but Danny was starting to feel like it was starting to. I mean, we can hear that his songs weren't as up to par like Bob and Christine's were. But like I said, this is probably my favorite of Danny's songs here. I really like the guitar work. The keyboards were really nice. Some really good bass playing on this track as well. And I love the little breakdown, where it slows down. It's just the drums. I really enjoyed that. It's just a really good, kind of a nice upbeat rock song to kind of get it started. Yeah, it's very good. Lyrically, it's actually kind of a little bit sad, actually, because this song's called Child of Mine, and the lyrics kind of reflect Danny. He never really knew his biological father. I mean, his last name, Kerwin, was taken from his stepfather. So lyrics are kind of sad, but overall, I think it's still a pretty good way to open the album, I think.
I like this song. It's a pretty good Danny Kerwin rocker. I think John McVie is kind of the big hero on this song with the bass. Bass is really good on it. I just think that the other two main songwriters are writing stuff that's a lot better at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion on it, I think the song's really good. Easily the best of the five songs he wrote on the album. Yeah, I will say, I'm gonna say what Scott said. Compared to Christian McVie and Bob Welch, he is the weak link of those two. Like if this was back in like the Peter Green era and the with Peter Green and Jeremy Spencer, this would be like blowing their songwriting apart to billions of pieces. But now he has competition, and the competition is tough to say the least.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a great opener for what I consider to be a great album. Next song on the album, I'll go first and talk about it. It's called "The Ghost," and one of two brilliant Bob Welch songs. His songs are. I hate to say this, but every Bob Welch is in these five albums. He's gonna have all my favorite songs on the album. Just gonna say that right now. Hate to spoil it, but his songwriting contributions always amaze me. I said it once and I said it again. I said it last week. I'm going to say it again. I think it would have been so cool if he would have been around when Buckingham and Nix was around. Would have been cool to see him writing with them, sort of see how that would have went. But sadly, that never turned out because he was having problems with the band. We'll get into that. Well, normally Bryer does the history. He'll go further into the detail about that when we get to that, why he left the band. But yeah, Bob Welch never ceases to amaze me. I love the flute on this track.
It's not a flute.
Oh, really?
I'll tell you what it is in a minute.
Okay, but whatever instrument it was, brilliant. It's just a great song. One of my favorites, and one of my all-time favorite Fleetwood Mac songs in general.
I'll go ahead and go next. This is a super groovy song by Bob Welch. So that flute sound is actually Christine McVie playing the mellotron. It's the one and only time that she ever used any kind of, like, in the 70s at least, keyboard other than the piano or the organ or something like that.
That's cool.
Of course, written by Bob Welch. Bob Welch kind of had some kind of weird fascination with paranormal activity, so he's writing songs about ghosts in a ghost town. Kind of continues that on with some of his other stuff like Bermuda Triangle and Hypnotized. I just feel like the grooviness of this song is just infectious. It is amazing.
Yeah. Yep. 3 for 3 on this one. Yeah, another song I really love on this album. It's actually one of the songs I've played the most from this album. Yeah, really enjoyed the vibe. The song again has this very hypnotic feel to it. Comes down to the drumming and the guitars, and of course Christine's mellotron playing, providing that flute sound, which is great. And I love the chorus to it. Just has a great melody to it, and even the bass playing. Like you can hear the bass line really adding to the whole atmosphere of it. And little tidbits is that for some reason in the late 70s, Bob liked to re-record his songs he did for Fleetwood Mac and kind of
Why?
re-release them for his solo career. And this is one of them. I haven't heard it, but it's a little interesting. It's not the only song he would re-record. I'll get to that later, but yeah, just want to throw that out there. But overall, yeah, The Ghost, great song.
Yeah, I'm glad we're 3 for 3 on that. I don't know if we're all going to agree if it's in our top five or not, but well, we'll see. We'll see that in the end. Next song is not a Simon and Garfunkel cover. Calm down,
Right.
Simon and Garfunkel fans. It's Homeward Bound, amazing Christian McVie original. But I'll let one of you guys talk about it first.
Yes, I
Um,
guess I should go first because anyhow. But yeah, this was Christine's first song on the album, and another really good one from her. This is basically just her just writing about how she really wants to go home and just relax because of the constant touring. Because it's been documented that Christine was never the biggest fan of touring. She was more of the quiet, more reserved one of the group. Didn't really like the whole hustle and bustle of it all. She just was in it for the music. But yeah, it's still I really like the musicality to it. Some great piano playing and has some cowbell. Has some more cowbell. Got to have that. Um,
I got a
has a,
fever.
yes, exactly. And the guitar even has a good guitar to kind of start the song. The chorus is really nice. A cool guitar solo and some nice little acoustic guitar to kind of close the song out. So I think pretty good song from Christine.
I like this song. Another really great song on the album. The piano and the guitar really shine on this one.
Yeah, this is a brilliant song. This is one of the songs that stood out to me when I first heard this album. I don't remember. I think this might have been my favorite song when I first heard this album. I don't remember. It was so long ago when I first heard this album, but I remember this being one of the highlights on the album, and I'm like, wow, this is a great song. Uh, just one of many reasons why Christine McVie is my favorite Fluid Mac member. Add that to the well, last video. I'll just add it from last video. Uh, Add this three on the counter of what reasons why Christian McVie is my favorite Fleetwood Mac member. Last video was 1 and 2 with the Morning Rain and the last song, but now we're adding a third song to that. But yeah. Next track on the album is an instrumental written by Danny Kerwin. What's your guys' opinions on that?
So when I wrote down my notes, I just put it's an okay instrumental.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. I mean, I'd like the melodic guitar playing. I mean, it's fine, it's good. It has this nice steady rhythm to it. And funny enough, this instrumental was kind of a live staple for a little bit. Even in the Buckingham era, Lindsay would kind of play this song live, which is kind of interesting. But I don't have much to say. It's a solid instrumental. It's fine.
I think it's a pretty good instrumental. Not a highlight on the album by any means, but definitely a far cry from the instrumentals he was doing when he was doing Then Play On. So nowhere near as good as those, but yeah, it's good. It feels like that at this point he's like, oh, I gotta do an instrumental on all the albums because I did it once, I do it every time now. That's what it felt like, but I don't know. It's good, but it's all right. Side one closes out with the title track, Bare Trees.
This is a pretty good Danny Kerwin song. I don't think I like it as much as Child of Mine, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah, let me just double check. Yeah, it's like my second song of his on this album. Let's see. It's a nice guitar intro, and the whole song has some good guitar playing throughout, and some nice percussion on here, and some solid bass playing here. Again, kind of having a more rock, more not like hard rock, but definitely a more upbeat sound to it. That still sounds pretty good. But yeah, solid song.
It's a really good song. It's like, yeah, it's not a big highlight on the album. I like it quite a bit. I actually really enjoy it. Thing that annoys me though about this first side is that you get like a brilliant Bob Welch song, you get one brilliant Christian McVie song, and then you got one pretty really good Danny Kerwin song, one good Danny Kerwin song, and then one okay instrumental. So I'm like, really? It's like, we're really just gonna get you're really gonna let him do all the writing on this album? That's kind of how I felt with the. It kind of reminds me of Mr. Wonderful, how like Peter Green was writing some pretty good songs on that album, and then you just have like 5, 6 Jeremy Spencer songs, and I'm like, you're giving the lead role to like the wrong people on these albums. I'm not gonna say this is not nearly as bad as Mr. Wonderful, but
No.
if I had to
No.
compare it to something, it would be that. Yeah, it's good. It is. It does feel. You know what's funny is that you guys didn't bring it up yet, but my problem with the David Kerwins on this album is kind of like what you guys were talking about last album, where it feels like they're a little too long on Future Games. I feel like Bear Trees went a little too. I feel like some of these Daniel Kerwin songs on this album feels like they're going on for a little too long.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't get the problem with it last album, but I'm starting to pick up the problem with it now. Okay. Hate to spoil it, but we're getting to the best song on the album now. Sentimental Lady. What a brilliant song this is. This is just the harmonies with Christine McVie doing it with the chorus. It's everything you want in a Fleetwood Mac song. It's probably my second favorite Fleetwood Mac song of all time. Only
Future Games.
Only slightly being beaten by Future Games. There's actually a couple of days. Well, this is like the only song I really go back to when I listen to Bare Trees is this song, and well, the rest of the album's really good too. But yeah, going back to this, like sometimes I'm like, is this better than Future Games? But then I would listen to Future Games, and that song I always get lost to it. But yeah, Sentimental Lady. I'm gonna kind of do the same thing that I'm doing with Christian McVie. Make that song number 4 of why I think Bob Welch is the second best Fleetwood Mac member. But yeah, what do you guys think of that? Maybe I'm just going on a limb.
No, this is amazing. I love this song. I love the chorus. It's really catchy. I wrote down in amazing in all capital letters Bob Welch song. And I like Kristen McVie's backing vocals.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, this is also really great highlights. One of Bob's best for sure. And of course, Christine's backing vocals during the chorus is just heavenly. And even the lyrics are very nice. I love the whole how love is kind of personified as like a gentle wind. I like that imagery there. The acoustic guitar playing is lovely. Even has a little bit some nice melodic bass playing there. And I also really love the pre-chorus to it, where just before it gets to the chorus, I really love the rhythm of it, the melody to that. And another lovely guitar solo. Just a beautiful song. And well, another tidbit, this is another one of those songs Bob would re-record in the late 70s for his solo career. Funny enough, his version actually did better than the one on the album. It actually went to number 8 in the US. And even more surprising, it's kind of like a reunion because he brings Christine, Mick Fleetwood, and John McVie on the track, and even has Lindsey Buckingham providing some backing vocals and guitar on that re-recording. So it's interesting. I actually did listen to his re-recording. It's not too different from this. It just sounds a bit more polished, and let's see, and it's a bit shorter too. This album here is like 4.5. Like the one he would do later was like close to 3 minutes, so we kind of shaved a minute off of it, but kind of surprising.
Yeah, I'm glad we have a trifecta on that. And yeah, such a brilliant song. Oh man, like why was it need the main songwriter for this album? Why the frick did Danny Kerwin get 5 songs on the album and Welch only got 2? Ugh, that pisses me off. But yeah, next song on the album, or track I should say, is a I don't hate it, but after Sentimental Lady, Danny's chant is such a boring track after the amazing Sentimental Lady. I 9 times out of 10, you're gonna if I ever get to this track when listening to this album, I'm skipping it just for that fact.
I'm just gonna go with my notes. I just wrote "Y" in all capital letters.
That's a good song.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh yeah, we'll get. Of course, we're
Yeah,
not there yet.
the actual song "Y." It's amazing, but I was just like, why? You have this amazing song, and then oh look, here's another instrumental.
Yeah, you know what I'm gonna say. It's I like the wah wah guitar intro. That's about it. That was like the real cool part of the whole thing. And yeah, the whole Danny just chanting, just kind of, it's whatever. I don't care for it. So I don't have much else to add to it.
I'm gonna go with what George Harrison said. I'm gonna say, I don't need no why.
Next track on the album, Christine McVie written track, "Spare Me a Little of Your Love."
Another amazing song by Christine McVie. I like this one as well. Basically, if it's written by Bob Welch or Christine McVie, it's going to be amazing on this album. And yet, the other guy, Danny Kerwin, writes most of the stuff. I'm like, that does not make sense.
I know.
Yeah, this is another fantastic song from Christine here. Again, it's just a really good pop song on here. This is like just a full-blown pop song here. Just great chorus to it, and the backing vocals to it just sounds really great. And this has another really nice guitar solo. And now I just love the whole bright, happy sort of sound to it. Just has a great feel to it. And it would become a live staple for some time, which is very nice to hear. Yeah, this is definitely I would say one of her best songs.
Who's guitaring on this album? Is it Danny or Bob?
I'm going to say it's probably Bob, because I know Christine and Bob usually worked very close. So I'm not sure though. Maybe Danny's providing some rhythm guitar, but I'm not sure about the specifics.
Okay. Because I know Danny was the one who played all the leads on Oh Well, so I know he's a great guitar player, but if this is Bob, then Bob is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm honestly hoping it was Bob.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm same here. I would like to know if it was Bob or not.
Yeah, just on Wikipedia, it just says guitars for both of them, so I don't know. Like not on the track, but like for personal, it says Danny Kerwin, guitars, vocals. Bob Welch, guitars, vocals. And I'm like,
on okay. What songs though?
I know.
Wikipedia just keeping it vague.
Okay. Spare Me a Little of Your Love. Ding ding ding. Number 4 on the fourth reason why Christian McVie is the best Fleetwood Mac member. Amazing song. I don't have a whole lot to say about it, but you guys basically summed it up excellently, especially Scott. You see Christine or Bob next to the songwriting, you know it's going to be a banger. But yeah, great stuff. Next track on the album is a forgettable song by Danny Kerwin, Dust.
That's what this song is. It's just dust in the wind. It blows away and it's gone. I don't even remember what it sounds like.
Yeah, it's not one of his moody tracks. More, I don't know, has a like more, slower kind of moody feel. Again, it's short and sweet. It's like Scott says, it kind of is there and then it's kind of gone. So yeah, it's fine. It's based on a poem, but that's all I have to say about it.
Okay. Yeah, it's all right. Forgettable. Next track on the album is a song that wasn't even written by any of the band members. Uh, Mrs. Scarrett. Yeah.
It's not even a song. It's just a moody poem to end the album.
Yeah.
Like, here's some poetry for you.
You know the
Yeah.
two best members of Fleetwood Mac you have in your band right now, Bob Welch and Christian McVie. You could give them we could give them one of them a third song around this album. Nah, let's give it to Mrs. Scarrett.
Yeah.
We'll just close out on a
I mean,
poem.
I did look it up about it. And apparently, it's just this old lady they knew who lived not far from them. So they decided to go to her house, they record it, and recite a poem. And apparently, it's the poem that inspired the album Bare Trees, because it has bare trees in one of the lines. So I kind of get what they're going for, but it's something I'm never gonna go back and listen to it. It's just there, just an odd way to end the album, I think.
Yeah, horrible way to end off the album. It's like Birds level horrible.
Gonna ride the Learjet.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you guys had your opinions on that? Okay. What is your 5 favorite songs on the album?
Okay, number 5, Child of Mine. Number 4, Spare Me a Little of Your Love. Actually, no, I'm going to switch it around. Homeward Bound. 3 will be Spare Me a Little of Your Love. I just remembered the chorus and I was like, oh, no, that so catchy. Just a little bit with those background vocals. Number 2 is The Ghost, and number 1 is Sentimental Lady. And dishonorable mention to the poem.
Oh my god, we had the same top 5.
Really?
Wow, cool.
My number 5, Child of Mine. Number 4, Homeward Bound. Number 3, Spare Me a Little of Your Love. Number 2, The Ghost. Number 1, Sentimental Lady.
Wow.
Oh my god. It was going to be
cool.
I wonder if it's going to be the exact same, but we'll find out.
Sadly, no. I'm just slightly different.
We
start the same, though.
Christine's songs.
Yeah, I mean, it starts out the same. Like, number 5 is also Child of Mine. Number 4 is Homeward Bound. Now, it differs here. Number 3, I have The Ghost. And number 2 is Spare Me a Little of Your Love. But number 1 is Sentimental Lady.
Trifecta yet again.
Ding, ding.
Love when we have trifecta in our list. Well, even though your list diverges just a tiny bit with the number 2 and the number 3, we have a trifecta and another thing. We all could agree what the 5 best songs on the album are.
Yes. It's just the order.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's just that tiny little thing with Bryer.
Just a little switch for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
We basically all agree with each other.
Got me hypnotized. I don't know why that just came into my head, but it did.
What is your score on the album?
Well, I wanted to give this an 8 out of 10, but then Danny's chant and I don't even remember the name of the poem kind of brought it down. So it's once again going to have to be 7.5. But, I'm going to go ahead and just say if I was ranking these albums, I'd probably put it over Future Games. Even though I think the song Future Games is probably better than anything on this album. But as a whole, I like this album better. More and better Christine songs.
Yeah, I'm kind of a similar boat. I think I do slightly prefer this album over Future Games. Just by hair. I gave Future Games 7.75. I will give this album an 8 out of 10 because I think there's more songs for me. There's more songs I can see myself going back to. Of course, my top 5 are songs I can hum to myself frequently. So I think the highs to me are a little bit stronger than the ones on Future Games, even though Future Games has some great songs. Don't get me wrong, especially the title track. The title track is a terrific song. But yeah, just as a whole, I think there's more things I would go back to personally for me. But so 8 out of 10.
Me, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. Big drop from the 10 out of 10 from the last album. I originally told Scott it was gonna be a 9.25 out of 10, but yeah, the two tracks really bring the score down to it. Just
Yeah.
both tracks bring it down half a point, and yeah, but that's why it's 9 out of 10. But yeah, well, like we did last time with the well, not now, but at the end of the Bob Welch era, we're going to be ranking all the Bob Welch era albums, the 5 albums. I'm curious as to what it's going to be at the end, but excited for that. Thank you guys for watching this video. Before I close out stream, anything you guys like to add or mention before I close out?
Yes. In the final Fleetwood Mac ranking, to Kilnhouse, Mr. Wonderful. Don't ask me what I think of you. I might not give the answer that you want me to.
How about you, Bryer?
I can't top that.
That's fair. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next one. So long.